Hello friends, good morning and a very happy Sunday to each and everyone who is watching this video. Actually from my last read, that is you can work your own miracles. I just felt like sharing some motivational stuff which I felt very important to be shared nowadays. So actually here is the chapter. The title of the chapter is Sorrow, the Path to the Soul. Yeah, we all, every human being, every living creature has their own sorrows, pains, troubles, problems in their lives, and most of them fail to face them or overcome their sorrows. So here is this best chapter written by this author, that is Napoleon Hill, and he has given beautiful motivational tips to take the sorrows as blessings in disguise. So I think I'd just like to read some important paragraphs from the chapter so that you feel yourself motivated and it helps you overcome your sorrows. So here it is. Sorrow is never invited by individuals, but it is one of the more effective devices of nature through which human beings are conditioned to become humble and cooperative to human relationships. When a person who has known great sorrow is tempted to criticize or condemn those with whom he may not agree or those who may have injured him, he often reverses the general rule in such circumstances and instead of condemning says, "God pity us all." When we meet this type of person, we intuitively recognize that we are in the presence of royalty. Sorrow is medicine for the soul, without which the soul would never be recognized by many. Without the leavening influence of sorrow, man will still be on the same stem with the animals on the lower plane of intelligence. Sorrow breaks down the barriers which stand between physical man and his spiritual potentialities. Sorrow breaks up old habits and replaces them with new habits, a fact which suggests that sorrow is a device of nature by which she keeps man from becoming enslaved by complacency and self-satisfaction. Sorrow is closely akin to the emotion of love, the greatest of all the emotion, and during times of disaster, sorrow brings people together in the spirit of friendship and influences man to recognize the blessings of becoming his brother's keeper. Sorrow softens poverty and embellishes riches. The riches which are revealed only by sorrow are so great and so varied that inventory of them is impossible. The capacity for sorrow within itself is evidence of one's deep spiritual qualities. Knaves never know the emotion of sorrow, for if they knew sorrow, they would not be knaves. Sorrow forces man to take introspective inventory of himself, wherein he may discover the cure for all of his ills and disappointments. And it introduces one to the benefits of meditation and silence, during which unseen forces may bring aid and comfort sufficient unto one's needs at a given time or experience. When a man comes to himself and discovers the stupendous powers within his command, the revelation usually is of a loved one, failure in business, or some physical affliction beyond his control. There are certain necessary refinements of body and mind which nature seems to bring about solely by the device of sorrow, such as the elimination of selfishness, arrogance, vanity, and self-love. Sorrow, like failure, may be a blessing or a curse according to one's reaction to it. If it is accepted as a necessary disciplinary force without resentment, it may become a great blessing. If it is resented and one sees no benefits growing out of it, then it may become a curse. The choice is entirely in the mind of the individual. Sometimes sorrow becomes self pity, and as such, it serves only to weaken the one who so embraces it. Sorrow is beneficial only when it is experienced as an emotional feeling of sympathy for others or accepted by the individual as a welcome medium of discipline. One is never in closer contact with infinite intelligence than in times of deep sorrow. It is in times of sorrow that prayer is most effective, and often the prayer brings positive results instantly. Sorrow has revealed to the world geniuses who never would have been recognized except for its deep, soul searching effects. Frustration, brought about by unrequited love, often brings one to a turning point in life at which sorrow makes its appearance and serves as a guide to great achievements or a hindrance which may bring total destruction according to the way the individual relates himself to it. Here again, the choice is entirely with the individual. Not even the Creator will abrogate one's privilege of controlling his own mind and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. And no other power can cancel his privilege except by consent of the individual. Sorrow may become a mighty power for good when it is transmuted into some sort of the constructive action or personal reformation. Sorrow has been known to cure one of the disease of alcoholism after everything else had failed, and it is recognized as a cure for most of the sins of man. Someone has, when sorrow fails, the devil takes over. In times of sorrow, people throw off all devices of pretense and reveal themselves as they are. For sorrow is an hour for open confession of both the humble and the proud. Without emotion of sorrow, man would be an animal as ferocious as the wildest tiger and infinitely more dangerous because of his superior intelligence. In lifting man to the highest plane of intelligence, the greater wisely refined that intelligence with a capacity for sorrow to ensure man's moderation in the use of his superiority. Sadists and master criminals usually are individuals of great intelligence who lack the capacity for sorrow. A man without the capacity for sorrow is the greatest thing to a devil in the flesh. If you should ever feel that your sorrows are greater than you can bear, remember you are at the crossroads of life, with four directions from which to choose, one of which may lead you to peace of mind, which you would never have found in any other direction or by any other means. Remember also that the person who has never felt the hand of sorrow has never really lived, for who sorrow is the master key to the gateway of one's soul, the port of entrance to infinite intelligence. Sorrow is a stopgap, a sort of safety valve which protects those who refuse to heed the guidance of their faculty of reason. Sorrow is a tonic to great souls, a bludgeon to the weak and the undisciplined. Once you learn to properly evaluate sorrow, you will recognize its benefits whenever they appear, and you will understand it is one of the more essential devices of nature with which she separates man from his animalistic background. Animals on all planes of development lower than that of man never feel the beneficent emotion of sorrow, with the exception of the dog, whose long partnership with man has made the dog something closely akin to, but slightly less than, a human being. If you have a great capacity for sorrow, you have also a great potential capacity for genius, provided you relate yourself to sorrow as a welcome source of discipline and not as a medium of self pity. Sorrow is the great universal denominator which serves to compose the circumstances of a community or a family when misfortunes strikes. I have known sorrow to bring together estranged husbands and wives who would have yielded to no other influence, and I have seen sorrow wipe out mountains, feuds which had existed for generations. The emotion of sorrow, like the emotion of love, refines the souls of those who experience it and gives them courage and faith to meet the trials and tribulations of struggle in a world of confusion and chaos, provided always that sorrow is accepted as a benefit and not as a curse. Resentment of sorrow develops stomach ulcers, high blood pressure, and general unfriendliness from other people. Every sorrow brings with it the seed of an equivalent joy. Look for that seed, generate it, and reap the benefit of the joy. When you can do this, you will no longer permit yourself to be annoyed by so trivial a matter as dental or surgical operations, even if they are major operations. Instead of coddling yourself when you meet with sorrow, look around until you find someone with a greater sorrow than yours and help him or her to master it. And lo, your own sorrow will have been transmuted into medicine for your body and your soul, the sort of medicine with which you make your many other types of unpleasant experiences. Yes, here I finished the chapter. Yeah, I think this video was helpful, and please listen to it carefully to understand what sorrow is and understand the benefits of sorrow. Have a nice time, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Take care.